And for more than a year, our investigative team has exposed alarming allegations against SeaQuest, which is a for-profit interactive aquarium chain accused of prioritizing profits over animal welfare. Well, now a California lawmaker is taking some action. ABC10 investigative reporter Andy Judson breaks down the proposed legislation.
This corporation is run by business people, not animal experts.
At SeaQuest in Folsom, customers pay to pet feed, even swim with wild animals.
They would just have me do them back to back to back to back to back.
In ABC10's investigation, over a dozen former employees exposed SeaQuest management for putting profit first, saying it created dangerous, dirty, and even deadly conditions.
Raise your hand if you saw an animal die at SeaQuest.
They estimate over 1,000 animals have died since 2018. But under California law, it's perfectly legal.
Unfortunately, right now, with a bunch of the wildlife laws, SeaQuest wins.
Assemblymember Nick Schultz aims to change that.
Reading about what was happening at SeaQuest and elsewhere, I really felt motivated that I could carry this bill.
He's introduced AB892, the Captive Wild Animal Welfare Act.
So this would prohibit direct contact between the public and certain kinds of captive wild animals.
That means no more hand-feeding, petting, or holding certain animals at facilities like SeaQuest.
Why do you believe stopping these types of interactions is necessary?
Primarily because they're profit-driven.
When profit comes before care, animals suffer. Our reporting has shown that.
If a human being were treated under those conditions, we would call that cruel and unusual punishment.
Yet data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture reveals a troubling trend. Interactions at facilities like SeaQuest nearly doubled between 2019 and 2021.
I really think that somebody has to be sounding the alarm. You all as investigative journalists have done that on your end. Now it's time for lawmakers to stand up and say we can do better in California.
Similar laws are already in place in 14 other states. If passed in California, it would ban interactions with non-human primates like monkeys, as well as bears, elephants, sloths, otters, kangaroos, wallabies, and certain wild cats, many living at SeaQuest in Folsom, but not all.
Why not go further to protect more animals at SeaQuest? For example, fish and reptiles have little to no protection both state and federally. Shouldn't they be included?
Absolutely. I think we should have more protections for all kinds of animals. My goal is that we view what we've introduced as a baseline, and if we want to build upon that and add more to it, I'm all about it. But this is really where we need the public to be engaged.
The public's input, he says, will ultimately shape this bill.
Really, our goal was to start this conversation. So if anybody watching your program has a feeling one way about it or the other, we want to hear from you.
And advocate for the protection of these animals, Schultz says.
Animals aren't going to be knocking on your door every day asking you to carry a particular bill for them, but it doesn't make it any less right to do. This is your chance right now to help shape public policy in California.
AB 892 is still in its early stages and has a long way to go before becoming law. However, ABC 10's reporting over the past year has been very instrumental in bringing attention to this issue and acting as a catalyst for change. So joining us now is investigative reporter Andy Judson. Andy, we know that this collaboration was with you and ABC News for this investigation, and it led to several changes just in the past year. Can you kind of recap what's happened since you started reporting on this?
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. So just in the past year, since the first report of this aired, we've seen so much change. We've seen protests at the Folsom Palladio Mall. The Folsom Assembly member Josh Hoover called for an investigation. SeaQuest CEO Vince Cavino stepped down, and SeaQuest also filed for bankruptcy. So their bankruptcy filing showed they owed rent to the Palladio Mall and also have not paid several employees in the Sacramento area. Despite this, they're still operating in Folsom and animals remain there. However, other SeaQuest facilities have recently shut down, including in Texas and Minnesota, Alex.
And as we heard, Assemblymember Schultz said that this bill will be shaped by public input, public voices. If people do want to have their voices heard, who can they reach out to? How can they share that information?
Yeah, that's the question, right? You can write, you can call into his office, he said, but ultimately for this to become law, it will need the votes of other lawmakers. So he encouraged the public to call your own representative, your assembly member or your senator, and let them know your thoughts on AB 892. Alex.
All right, Andy, thank you so much. As always, we appreciate the update. And I want to mention, you can catch all of Andy's investigative reporting on SeaQuest right now on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. That app is free to download straight to your TV.